What's up, guys? Welcome to Powerline Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Lucas. If you're a longtime listener, I appreciate you tuning in each and every week. If this is your first time here, welcome. All right, if I could ask one favor from you guys is that you like, subscribe, follow. Make sure you're following or subscribed on whatever platform you're listening to this on. It does a lot for us, and I super appreciate it. All right, this week's guest is a reoccurring guest. He's been on the show before. He's well known if you're on TikTok. His name's John Goodson, otherwise known as Goody. I love talking to Goody. He's just like one of those good old boys that you just enjoy the conversation. We talked for about an hour and I got a lot out of it. I think you're going to get a lot out of it too. So let's jump right in.
I got hurt, and that was a blow in itself, because I'd always kind of pictured myself as I'm unstoppable. Learning that it was a pretty hard deal to take. Once that happened to me, I had to sit back and watch things happen. There wasn't nothing I could do about it because I was trying to heal my back up. You learn a lot when you can't do nothing to fix anything. So,
for real.
I just see things when I was healing. It reminded me of who I was then, and when I did the same thing, makes you start thinking about it. It's like, this position I've got with this company here. It's like, man, it is. I feel so bad for all of the grips that I've lost and bounced out of my bucket truck. You know what I mean? Or bucket covers have blown off. God Almighty, I've lost a fortune in tools. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And I'm out there with pen and paper now, counting stuff every day. We got that. We got this. Where's this? Where's that? And I don't know what it is. I guess it's just time that's done it to me. But man, I sure feel bad about a lot of the things that I used to do, and I'm trying to correct them now. That's all. Just trying to reach out to somebody that's like me. Used to be bitter as hell and try to be better now. So
I think that's super important though, because like you're representing a large portion of the industry. There's a lot of us that aren't in the same mindset. And I know like when I talk about this quite a bit, like when I was younger in the trade, and sounds like you probably were similar. Like you felt unstoppable. You feel like, you're not going to listen to what the old boy has to say because it doesn't matter. My knees are fine. My back is fine. My shoulder's fine. My elbows are fine. I'm good. I don't have these problems. I never will. I'm strong. Yep. And you hit an age, and it happens to everybody. You're lucky if it happens to you. For one, you're lucky to get old. If you don't get old, that's sad. But if you get old, and it doesn't even have to be old, man. Like, yeah, it's crazy. This trade wears on a body fast. Wears on a body and wears on a mind. And you'd be lying to yourself if you think you're going to get out of your 30s, injury free, fine. So
yeah, no doubt.
Start paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, a good lineman don't have a shoulder. You know what I mean? When he's in his 30s. If you're a good one, you've done blowed your shoulder out once.
Yeah, your shoulder, your
but
elbow,
it's the little
your knees.
thing. It's like driving and then, oh man, I got this new pain that goes through my knuckles when I'm driving. Yeah, I never had this before, and I'm talking about it's a killer too. I won't go to the hospital. Now everybody's like, "Gosh, it's arthritis." My gosh, if this is arthritis, then cut it off. And it's just about 40. That's when it starts happening to you. I think. You start noticing all the little things that you can't do anymore that you used to. And it's a mental battle, but at the same time, let them young bucks do it. I ain't got no problem letting somebody do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but in the same sense,
I'm going to criticize both of it.
In the same sense, it's like, let the young bucks do it, but then they're going to be in the same situation we're in unless they start listening to you a little bit more and start going, okay.
And that was kind of the deal. I mean, I wouldn't say I really put on an act for my TikTok, but I'm a little more outgoing for the video than I am in real life. And it was strictly just to get attention, just to get somebody in there that don't necessarily look the part, don't sound the part, but knew the part. And I don't know. It's something that I'll be proud of later. Right now, it's just a thing. I've got a lot of emails, over 1,000 of young guys tell me, thanks. I graduate next month or whatever. So, but I don't know about it. You know what I mean? I'm not as proud as I should be of it now. I should be trying to push it into a career like you did with your podcast, but.
Well, it's not something that happens.
I mean?
It's not. It's just, or it is something that just happens. I think like it's not something I purposely, meant to turn into a career. I actually wasn't sure. I was trying. I gave it when COVID happened in 2020. I pulled out of the trade besides just focusing on the podcast. I took time. I took about 6 to 8 months, and I was just doing the podcast, selling merch, like selling advertising spots in it, like just trying to make a living at doing it. And I couldn't do it. So I went back to the trade to instruct at the Lazy Q Ranch in Texas and get into some bear hand instructing. I ended up instructing young students at the line school there. And I really loved that. I loved talking to the kids, and I loved helping. I call them kids. They're full grown adults, but I loved talking to them and dealing with them and training them and teaching them, because they're also like sponges, right? They want training, and they're so excited for this new industry that they found and this new career that they found, and they're just jacked to be there. Whereas it's the linemen that are so fucking hard-headed and like they won't. So I get it. They won't listen. But like, what's your take on that? Like, how have you found, like, you being on TikTok, being on like a very, kind of like youthful app? What's your take on like the old boys that are on the app commenting and interacting versus the younger guys that are on the app commenting, interacting? Is there any differences?
Yeah. And it's I think it's our fault, older guys. And I've talked about it. We got to start referring to these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old guys as kids.
Yeah, facts.
Them grown men, and they can do it. If they can't do it, it's because we ain't showed them how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the divide. Well, I can't teach you nothing. Well, maybe you ain't teaching him right. You know what I mean? Maybe jumping out of the truck and kicking a bucket and screaming for 5 minutes ain't really teaching him how to frame the pole properly. And then when you go to try to tell an lineman that, God bless, hold on to your seat. You know what I mean? They'll fly hard real quick. But, that's just the truth of it. These guys, this is the next generation coming up behind us, and they're only going to be as good as we teach them to be. And we have to stop pretending like they're incapable and start treating them like they can be, capable. So I think that's where I see the divide in the commenting. These guys have had guys train them properly. They know their job, and they have no patience for the young guys and babies, this and that. And then there are a lot of young guys too that they're not cut out to be out here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you got a hand and you read a spec book with him for 3 weeks straight, and you're working hard every day, and he ain't figured out how to frame an A1 or a C1, it might not be the best place for this guy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, Bird.
No, you're right. I had a talk. I remember having a conversation with this younger guy that was, I don't think he was an apprentice yet, but he was damn close. Or if he was an apprentice, he was like maybe a 1 or 2 step. And he just wasn't cutting it. He just couldn't figure it out. He seemed scared too. And I sat him down one day. I remember sitting him down in the pickup truck. I brought him in the truck and sat him down. I'm like, dude, I'm just going to give you some honest feedback because it's my job as a lineman. And I'm not, I could go out there and holler and scream at you all day and call you every name under the book. Like, that's the approach that lots of linemen take. But I was like, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm just going to tell you straight up that from my perspective, I don't think you have it. And this isn't just from me. This comes from a lot of people that I work with that have voiced the same thing about you that, they're maybe not going to tell to your face. But like, I'd like you to go home and think about this. Is this the right career for you? Just think about it, man. Are you scared? Cause it's real. It's a real job. It's a real trade, and it's a real one that could really hurt you. And if not hurt you,
Yeah.
you could hurt somebody else. You need to think about that.
Yeah. And you don't want to lead nobody on. You don't want to see it that they're not going to make it.
No.
And then pretend like for the next 3 years that they are. You know what I mean? Because what's going to happen is you're going to bite the bullet and realize that, well, they're not going to cut it. And you have the talk and they split ways. And then what they're going to do is take the little bit of what they've got of not cutting it they learned, and they're going to take it to the next place. They're going to finagle the words, sign the paper, and here they are hired on for a position a little bit higher than before with a little bit more money.
Yep.
And then that's how you get foremen that don't know their ash from a hole in the ground. You get linemen up there that can't cut a dead end. I've seen crews show up and say they didn't have climbers. Oh, we're not a climbing crew. Like, whoa, what the hell? What is that? What's the no climbing crew?
Yeah.
They're out there. I've seen 3 of them. So I mean, that blew my mind. And I don't know. Somebody let them boys get there, and they're just good enough at something that they, you know what I mean, that they'll allow what they're not cut out for. You know, the industry's so weak of hands, and we're reaching out, grabbing hold of whatever we can. Between a lack of training and a lot of guys that just can't cut it. I don't know. I don't get industry stats no more. The last few years, I haven't. So I don't know what each company's doing, you know, across the region.
Sure.
We used to hear we'd take stand downs and stuff for, you know, incidents here and there, and I don't really know how we're doing, you know, statistically, as far as safety wise as goes. But I can say personally, in the last 2 years, I've seen 0 to no accidents on properties that I've been on from here to the East Coast. And even the ones that were incidents that I've seen were just like vehicular, you know, cosmetic incidents, or somebody dropped a pole on a sidewalk or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They could have been dangerous. They were near misses. You know, they weren't actually incidents. So I don't know how we're doing, you know, safety wise, but I know there's a lot of guys talking about it nowadays. So I'm hoping that somebody's making a change, you know, as far as the industry goes.
I think it comes from people like us, and a lot of other people as well, but like a lot of people like us continuing to talk about it, make content about it. You got to show up. You have to show up where people are, and people are online now. That's where people are. Like, this is why you got these companies starting to pay attention to social media. Like, oh, we're a Powerline company. We don't need to be on social media. Well, you kind of do if you want some influence in the world. That's like, I know, you know, you're not on social media, but everyone that's around you is. So if you want
somebody you want on here, go be on social media. Yeah. I've seen good crews get fired for janking a bumper off a truck, putting it online. Hell, that's funny, and it happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's part of the show, kind of what not to do. You know, you take that video, you laugh at it for a minute, then you address the safety points of it. And you know, and the only reason they get fired for that situation is because they put it on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I get both sides of it now. I'm gonna say that. I don't want no funny business posted online, you know. But I also don't mind posting a few things that are, you know, educational to someone that's going to help them out, you know, through the industry. So,
what have you noticed, like having an online presence now, and you know, you're of the generation that you're of, and you're online, very active online. You're making good content, trying to help people. Like, what are you noticing? Is it helping? Is it like generally positive, generally negative? What would you change in there? What's your feel on it?
I don't have much, you know, negative feedback. And then the little bit that I do is either a snarky comment or they'll send an email. And well, you know, they'll address it that way. So, but as far as my content, I almost wish I hadn't started it, because I've created this Powerline pariah, you know, that doesn't really exist. You know what I mean? I'm just like everybody else. For some reason, the algorithm picked me up, and you know, there's times that I wish that I hadn't have, you know, done it. But there's also times like I get emails, you know, twice a week at least, I think I've got about 1,400 total. Young guys tell me, hey, I graduated line school, or hey, just got my CDL, let's do my application tomorrow. And these were heads that were never going to do power lines, until they seen my TikTok account. So
Yeah.
that meant a lot. You know what I mean? That meant a lot. So I'll say that.
Yeah.
If it never happened, if I never did another video, I got that.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Yeah, definitely feel that. It's definitely something that, like,
Proud of that.
Yeah. 100%. I had it's really like the vets too that I know it's really the vets too. The vets are super special. I love being able to show vets that this industry exists and that it's a really, really great fit for somebody coming out of the military.
Come out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Where do I need to go? I get a lot of those emails. Hey, you'll probably never see this, but I get out of the Army next year, whatever. They're in some whatever. I don't know nothing about the Army. I feel bad for every one of them guys. But I tell them, man, I mean, it's the military guys we do get online, they fit right in.
Yeah.
They get a position, they work on it, they go right on up the chain. It's a good transition for them because of the pecking order.
It's good because they like working outside. They're used to that. They're used to like taking some sort of instruction or order, and they're not going to get too, hurt feelings about
I used to work with this old cat named Toby. He would laugh at me. They'd be telling me to do something on the radio, and I'd be talking shit to him when the radio wasn't on. And told Toby, he'd just be sitting over laughing. I said, what's so funny? He said, hell, I remember when we didn't have no choice. he's an old military guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, you did what you was told right then, no back talk. I said, we ain't in the Army no more. I grabbed that radio up and lay into him. He had a lot of structure, that man did, you know what I mean? He was on point. There wasn't no... you could tell who the military guys was and who the line hands was, you know what I mean? Their behavior was different. They do good on it, man.
Line work is problem solving, right? Like line work is problem solving all day, every day. You're solving problems, and large percentage of the military, that's what they do in their career. In the military, is solve problems. Not all of them, but a large portion of them. That's what they do all day. So, it really fits in. It fits in nicely.
Not all the time, man. A lot of these co-op gigs, you get on bid jobs, and it's just mundane pole framing there every day. The location changing, and you're setting poles, and the terrain's different, but there's a lot of it guys just get into a rhythm on. They'll be framing and setting and framing and setting and framing and setting, and then something else will come up, and then they're dumb to it. They've done this one thing for so long, and then it comes time for some problem solving, and they got hold on a minute. Here, what am I going to do here? You got to regroup everybody and get them all out. So if you go from a pole set to a wire pull, you got to adjust them crews. You know what I mean? That's when the problem solving really comes in. So trouble guys, it's always like that. They're solving a problem. Co-ops, those guys are out troubleshooting lines and stuff, and a lot of those contractors, we're off in the middle of nowhere, just framing poles, forgotten about. You know what I mean? And there's them boys, they don't get no problem solving other than what material to grab, and when something changes up, you can tell that they haven't had that, that fluctuation of, thoughts from thinking about this job to thinking about this one, back to this and back to this one. So, there is a lot of problem solving out there, but
that's why it's important to move around. That's not get too stagnant and stuck in one spot.
I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. They get too good at problem solving on one thing, and then, like I say, you pull up on a wire pull, and it's a whole new job to them. You know what I mean? They're second guessing everything, and until they get figured out.
Some hot pulls,
yeah. It's a totally different ballgame for a wire than just going up and changing out, a pole in the same hole.
Get yourself from the countryside in Oklahoma into the city.
Lord. We've done that before. and it's no fun. It's a whole different show. It's like we go from setting 5-6 poles a day in the blind to, 1 or 2 in Dallas, because the rest of the time we were signs and flags. And so at that point, the job was basically road construction. You know what I mean? Because you're diverting traffic. And
just getting to the job site is a whole nother thing. Yeah. You talk about problem solving.
Yeah.
You got to watch what's in the ground.
Damn right.
Yeah. You can't just toss the auger in the ground.
No, you can't. Because I'm talking about, we did a transmission move on Interstate 30 down there in Dallas. This was years and years ago, like 02, 03. There was so much red tape involved in that. We're dealing with landowners and previous utilities and finding utilities that these people had no idea was even there. And it was an ordeal that I wouldn't want to take on alone. I wouldn't want to be like the head guy in charge of one of them jobs. There was so much problem solving in that situation right there that I would probably become overwhelmed. It was a lot. It was a lot.
What's some advice you'd give to those, or what is, I guess you'd probably give a lot of advice to the young guys, but like that 18-year-old goody back in the day, knowing what you know now, what kind of advice would you give that 18-year-old?
You stay dedicated to the cause. I mean, you know what you want when you start, whether that's to be an old man in bed with your family with a house and 100 acres, or you want to be a wildcatter till the end. Stay dedicated to that. Don't want one thing and try to live as another, because you're never going to get anywhere doing that. Listen to your parents. They're shooting out for you the best. And then just the basic stuff. Don't get your feelings hurt at work. Do what you're told. Try to think outside the box a little bit. When you're trying to learn something from someone, try to learn like you're learning from you, watching yourself learning. You know what I mean? Where things are at in relation to your body parts, what you need to be, position your body needs to be in when you're doing said thing. And it just makes the job easier when you start thinking, outside the box, and you're trying to learn how to do a little bit of stuff. And just stay true to the cause. Don't deviate, whatever it is.
How'd you hurt your back?
Well, we don't really know. I guess it just a lot of work. And I also got degenerative disc disease. I have jokingly said that it was from sleeping on my stomach, but my wife has had some pretty bad back problems here these last few months, and I finally got her to start sleeping on her back. The back pain's gone. I mean, it's unreal. She was kind of surprised, and it was from sleeping on her stomach. So I'm thinking that maybe the degeneration, and then I had a couple bad car wrecks too. And I was probably injured in them, but at the time I don't think I was. You know what I mean? I flew a pickup across the Arkansas River Bridge up in Ponca City, and I rolled one up there in Daisy. Rolled it over a couple times. I got out and walked right away from the vehicles too, man. I had time out of them, but not a scratch. But I think that and this year's work and then that disc disease is finally bloated out. I'd been hurting for years through sciatic nerve. I was doing yoga and stretching, and all of a sudden it got better, and I thought, yeah, the yoga worked. I started TikTok, and then I grabbed a case of water at Walmart and went to throw it in the back of the pickup. And had to crawl around the truck to get back in the cab, you know what I mean? It just bloated out. Then I go back to 28 to get it redone. I got to get bigger screws in the sacrum, and then they're going to redo the posterior fusion because the facet joints didn't, and a non-union is what they call it. So, I mean, I'm fused, and I go. I work hard, but I hurt like crazy every day. Overnight is real bad, and this next surgery is supposed to stop all that. The screws are moving inside there, I guess, because my muscles pushing on them. And then somehow, I guess there's twist flex on those facet joints because they're not, fused either. And I'm not 100% yet, but I should be in another couple of months. This time I'm gonna do it right. They're gonna give us a bone, what do they call that? A bone stimulator. I'm gonna wear it for 3 months. So hopefully I get this done and I keep on. You know what I mean?
What
Keep on
kind
doing
of
good.
what kind of toll on your mental health is this taking?
Oh man, it's bad. It's bad. You know, you get to thinking about what you was and what you are now. Everything you can't do pops into your mind. You know what I mean? You can't stop thinking about the things you can't do. Like I can't run.
Mm.
To save my life, I can't run right now. You know, it's that. It'll work on you. But as long as you can stay out of your head, you know, TikTok helped a lot last year. I was able to keep busy, you know, basically talking to myself but on
Yeah,
camera. I'm hoping this year's the same. You know what I mean? Another cold winter, but with a bad back's going to be a hard one to take. But I got, you know, I got work to keep busy this year, so I should do all right.
is
You
that
know,
is that what you kind of like to do? Is just try to like keep busy and until it starts to heal and you can kind of get mobile again, or like what other kind of tactics do you have for somebody that might be going through something similar where they ain't what they used to be?
so the way I did it the first time was not the way to do it. They said I have a hard time not doing things. I can't I can't sit down for very long. I back up trying to find something to do, and it'll start off with something light, you know, and next thing you know, I'm in the middle of something, and I shouldn't be, and I catch myself. I'd say, all right, you got to stop this. So I'll just drop what I'm doing and then just go back over there, and, you know, in the injured section, like I'm still, you know, trying to heal up and do better. And I don't know what I'm going to do this next round. I know that I can't go like I'm going now. And I know that it's not going to be enough to keep me down to where I can't go like I'm going now. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to try as hard as I can to, you know, just stay still and let it heal. That's the plan right now. Just stay
Mm-hmm.
still and let it heal. Keep my mind busy somehow, and then, you know, hope it works this time because I'm not going to do another one. This is the last shot at it. So whatever results of this one is the outcome.
Is there any sort of like ulterior things you can do to help it heal and stuff? Like, sort of special therapies or something?
Yeah, they gave me a physical therapy deal, and it was basically like on, you know, just strengthening exercise on your hands and knees. You move your legs back and forth, get up beside the bed, push sideways on the bed. It was just like minor stuff, or I considered it to be. I'm using a bone stimulator this time. They're hard to get approved for, but somehow I did. So I'm hoping that helps as well. They say that this bone stimulator is supposed to help, but I've quit drinking, so I got that going on my side. Uh, my diet's 100% better than the last time I had it. I was living on Michelob's and Skittles when I had my last surgery. So my body probably sees some extra vitamin or calcium laying around and just sucked it up. That's why my back
Dude,
didn't
no
fuse
kidding.
yet.
That'll help
And
huge already, and that's
so
something that
I'm
the
thinking that'll,
trade could really clean up. Anyways, clean up on the.
yeah, I've quit drinking and then my blood pressure was leveled out. Uh, my heart, I don't feel my heart beating all the time. My heart used to beat out of my chest. Boom, 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 boom. And I ain't had a drink in about 3 months and I feel 100% better. I mean,
Yeah, good
it
for
was
you.
like after that first week, you know, I could tell a massive difference in the way my body felt. You know, that alcohol was eating on me. I didn't even know it. I thought I had other problems.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing how quick it happens too. I just got back from Nepal. Went to Nepal and trekked to Mount Everest base camp, and that whole time,
Really?
yeah, yeah. I just got back about a month ago.
Damn it. That's regular
that whole
Bear
time.
Grylls out here.
I didn't
That's
bring the
awesome,
TV
man.
crew with me.
That's cool, man. That's
No,
cool.
it was a pretty cool trip. It's so remote, right? Like it's one of those places
Yeah.
that's in the middle of nowhere, and I've talked about it on the few recent podcasts, but like it's amazing when you stop, consuming alcohol. You start kind of, I wouldn't say I was eating great because you kind of like the food wasn't amazing. But whatever, you got a pretty clean diet because you're just eating like bread and boiled eggs and garlic soup, and it's probably actually all
Yeah.
good for you, the stuff you're eating.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of Delbat. And but like it's the mental side of it that I found was just amazing. Like it was really good to get out and do something difficult, do something hard. I've mentioned this a few times recently as well, like just how doing hard things is important. But that's why I keep saying it, because when you go through something hard, it builds resilience so that you can go through other things that are hard, right? That's why it's
Mhm.
good to put yourself in hard situations throughout your life voluntarily, so that you can build that resistance. So like if something like what you're going through happens where it's involuntary,
Yeah.
you didn't select to have a bad back and go through all this shit you're going through. It builds some resilience to know that you can kind of go through that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been hurting for years, so I was good at that. I can take pain probably better than anybody you've ever met. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm proud of that, but I'm glad I have that trait, because I see a lot of people, pain take them down, slows them down a little bit, and I pride myself in pushing through pain. So I did learn how to hurt well and cope with it. That'd be another thing that
I think a lot of
it,
linemen are like that though, man. Like especially a lot of the
you
older
gotta
guys,
be,
like, not calling you
you
old,
gotta
but
be,
a lot of the older guys are like that, and they dealt with pain their whole life. My father is like that too. Like he, oh man, especially I remember watching him when he was building his business and trying to build power lines at the same time. Like he's, doing all aspects of the job. And I remember him, like you mentioned, throwing a thing of water in the back of the truck and falling to the ground and crawling off around the ground to get back into the truck. He did the same thing. Like he did something like getting out of his truck at home. I remember seeing him crawling across the sidewalk up to the house, mom helping him, rolling him onto a couch just so he could, because his back was, so bad. Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, your dad was like my dad. He had about twice as much testosterone as you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of what you see in these guys now. There's the food that we eat, that we buy. It's become so expensive to make your own food, cook your own food, grow your own food.
Yeah.
That we're societally forced to eat this supermarket food, and man, I'm talking about the manliness levels in America have decreased so much in the last 60 years that it's scary. It's very scary. I mean, I consider myself to be a man, but then I think about my dad's testosterone level being twice as much as mine. My dad was a savage. You know what I mean? He was a beast. You don't see that in the younger kids. You know what I mean? They're not as, they couldn't hang with me when I was 21. We'll say that. You know what I mean? Your average 21-year-old, you see now, he couldn't put his foot in my shoe. You know what I mean? And I think society's just, is getting weaker, and I know next year's 80-year mark, 80 years ago was World War II, the middle
Wow.
of it. So that's probably coming our way next. It'd be a good time to be a strong man at the moment, I'm going to say.
It's
I just
facts.
feel like, it brings out that saying that strong men, they create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong
Strong
men.
man. Yeah.
It's a cycle. And I think we're either the weak ones creating the bad times, or we're creating the weak ones. You know what I mean? That are going to create the bad times. I'm not sure which cycle we're in there, but we're damn sure not the strong ones creating the good times. I don't think.
I
I
think they
don't. I
kind of
don't
fit
think.
together. It is important why, like, there's another reason why we like to talk about these things and talk about doing hard things and talk about, like, I've noticed on your TikToks that you got a pretty decent garden. I was actually going to mention homesteading and gardening and things like that with you, and
Uh,
and that's a topic that, you know I hope 90% of the people listening to this didn't just turn it off when they heard, oh, garden. But like, literally, dude, boy, you got to think about doing these sorts of things now. Really got to start thinking about growing your own food. Because you're 100%
yeah,
right. The shit they're putting in, the way they're processing and dealing with our food is definitely not doing good things for us. There's a lot of good people
yeah,
out there trying to do good things, but there's also a lot
yeah.
not.
70% of the world is like third world country. You know what I mean? They're living in squalor, making their food. They ain't going to the grocery stores. You know what I mean? They're not getting a paycheck every week. You know, they're not. We've got it so good here in America that it would almost be fair if we see some bad times for a while, so we would actually appreciate what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my dad grew up on a dirt floor till he was 12. I don't understand that. You know what I mean? I don't get that. Why didn't they put some wood down for the floor? Well, is they too broke to even have wood. You know what I mean? I don't understand that, and us drifting away from that sort of resiliency is it's going to hurt a lot of people. You know what I mean? If this ever does, say we wake up one day and this ain't it no more, and we're invaded, and the dollar ain't worth nothing, and the power plant's closed down, and your water's turned off, and it's just you and your family there. What are you going to do? Well, it'd be a really good time to be a strong man. You know, and that's all I think about.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one going to my neighbors saying, "Damn, boy, I wish I could get some of that corn you got there," because I want to grow my own corn. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
Or you go there with something to trade for, like,
yeah,
here,
yeah,
I got a bushel of
that,
tomatoes. Could I get some corn for you? Make a trade. Like, there's
yeah,
that
or
too that we don't do anymore either. I remember, like,
you'll trust geology.
honestly,
I was thinking about that the other day. That damn South Park's funnier than hell. They going to trade a handyman some geology to go work on his house. Okay.
one thing that we do have going for us as blue collar men and women is that we're typically outdoorsmen. We typically like
Yeah.
to work on things with our hands. If we're power linemen, we're still doing other things in our yard. Like, you're constantly doing other things. I seen putting up drywall the other day and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're
Pretty
building
wild, too.
things, you're building the garden, you're doing some drywall, you're doing
Yeah.
like whatever. Like, you know how to do things with your hands. You know how to make things and grow them in your garden. Typically, there's a lot of linemen, a lot of blue collar workers, not just linemen, are outdoorsmen. They go hunting, they bow hunt, they rifle hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the skills that I think, like, we're so fortunate to be that type of person, even to start with. Yeah, we could get a little stronger. We could get a little, like, better, faster. We could do better, always do better as individuals. But at least we have that going for us. Is like, imagine being the other people in the cities
Uh-huh.
that just, like, they don't know how to get, like, you saw it during hard times, during
Mm-hmm.
COVID. Like, you saw grocery store shelves empty and people didn't know what to do. Like, you freaking hoarding toilet
Yeah,
paper.
it was so bad.
Yeah.
Our grocery stores are fine. Well, I mean, we come from a small town, in Oklahoma, and you know, it kind of varied in regions of how bad people got hit. But you're right. There's some bigger towns like Chicago, down in Phoenix, and L.A., and it was just golly. Just imagine the feeling walking in the grocery store with a list, and you're not getting nothing but plastic Solo cups on the way out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. So it's good to be. Yeah, it's good to be the outdoor blue collar man, even a woman, somebody that enjoys being able to sustain themselves without help. And that's what it amounts to right there.
What's your take on blue collar America right now?
Man, I think I think we're plentiful, but I think we're being overlooked. We're being used for the tax money, and then there's no pride given to the blue collar worker no more. It's just everybody going to work, paying their bills, even the ones doing blue collar jobs, where you're hanging drywall or you're building houses. Hell, I catch myself doing a lot of times on power lines. You're just mundane in it. You know what I mean? And there's not as much pride, as I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't see as much pride in it as I used to.
I saw you mentioning that on a
To me,
TikTok, actually. Like, you talked about how you used to watch, like those garage shows on Sunday morning. I used to watch them with my old man too, like Hot Rod TV and all this, and like very blue collar focused shows that you don't see really. Like even Tim Taylor, Tim the Toolman Taylor. Like you don't see these.
Yeah, see Home Improvement. Oh, it was on every day when I got home from school.
Yeah,
we got to watch Tim and Al. Yeah, you're right.
There's not even reruns of that.
I think it's part of the plan. A dependent society is what they go for. If you got a bunch of people that know how to rebuild the same motor, and keep it going for a lifetime, they're never going to need to buy a car.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If you got somebody that knows how to fix their house right, they're never going to have to take a HOA loan or whatever the hell they call it, a big high dollar ass loan to a realtor that the state gets a cut out of. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. They just want us to be dependent that way. They're relative. That's all it amounts to. A hardworking family that doesn't need the government to do anything is the government's enemy. So that's why they've taken it all off the air. They're putting all the trash in the food, making us soft and dependent. That's how I feel about it. It's all part of the plan. They don't want you to know how to build your truck. You call this guy over here that we bailed out a few years ago with federal tax money. He'll fix your truck. You call FDA here, they'll let you know what you can eat. They'll let you know what medicines you can have to keep you healthy. It's us against them, and they're trying to make us dependent on them. That's all it is. I don't know.
That's why we got to talk about it, dude. That's why we got to promote blue collar still. Like it's one of the safest places, though. Like it's what I'd love my kids to get into. I got 3 kids, and I would love it if any of them came to me and said, "Hey, I want to do something technical, something with their hands."
Yeah, I got 2 daughters, and I hope my oldest daughter just gets her shit together. That'd be a life goal right there. My youngest daughter, she likes welding. So I'm gonna push it. Yeah. I don't want her going to college. To be everybody I know goes to college, except maybe a handful of them. They're doing the same damn thing I'm doing, working their ass off every day, and then going to bed to get up and go do it again the next day. Ain't none of them living in a lap of luxury because they went to college. So I just think that's, if you're going to go up there and you're going to be a broadcaster or something, or a doctor, or, financing, something that needs, a degree to go with some further education. But you're just going in there, some needless major. Why are you even wasting your money? Go to a Votech and learn how to roof a house. That's a needed skill right there. Somebody slap a roof on a house. So,
yeah, just learn a skill.
I try to promote it.
Yeah,
I try to promote being a strong, toxic man. You know what I mean? If somebody's hurt by you, get them up, dust them off. That's it. Go on, deal with you hurt. You're good. As long as you're not dying. I believe in that kind of mentality for a man. You can be soft at times, but for the most part, we're out here leading this pack. We're the ones doing it. And there's a lot of women that'll say, "Oh no, we don't need a man," but there's a lot of women that know they do need a man. And my woman needs me, so I want to be strong for her. I don't want to be a weak man for her. There she is, matter of fact. But
yeah, it's important. It's important that we
being strong is important.
Yeah, it's important that we be strong. What are you trying to do through your? Do you have like a master plan through your TikTok channel, or are you just kind of like winging it through the day to day? You got some sort of like message?
Yeah,
you're
just
trying
winging
to like
it.
constantly...
And some days I have good videos, and some days I don't. I don't really have a master plan. And that's what I was saying earlier. I should, kind of pursue something more.
I think you've got a great platform. You've got a lot of people who... Yeah, you got a lot of people. Like I see it on there. I read through your comments, and I see what you're trying to promote and teach, and I think it's important that you keep something going. Like you could now at this point with what you have, streamline some sort of plan, put some sort of plan together. Hell, I remember you talking about starting a podcast one day. You should do that.
Yeah, I thought about it until I run across this one. This is the top podcast I know of.
It's not the same.
But yeah, I've talked to my wife about it. I didn't start out trying to make any money off of it. I started feeling good, and I got cocky, did a couple videos, and they took off, and then I kind of redirected myself to, promote good work ethic and power lines. I've talked to some people, and they've got ideas about starting like a law school, and hell, I'm so busy now with this, I'd have to have I'd have to have somebody else doing that, helping me out with it. But as far as my video goes, they're just random, and I'll have an idea about one of them and go out there and string a piece of wire up between some poles and do a video on it, or hang an arm or whatever. And I don't know.
What's the top three things? What's the top three things somebody needs to know coming into the trade? Like, what do they need to know? What's the insider info on this trade that someone just coming in needs to know?
Make sure you have all your tools when you hire on. Make sure you want to be out here. Don't be out here wasting somebody's time. It costs a lot to hire an employee. And it loses a lot when an employee leaves. So, make sure this is what you want, not just for yourself, but for everybody involved. You don't want to work 2 years trying to be an apprentice, and then finally get to the bucket and then quit to go do something completely different. It was all just a waste of time. There's a lot of that happens out here right now. And I guess the third thing would be just, stay hooked up to it. If you want it, and that's what you're after. I've been watching this cat. I ain't gonna say his name. He's on TikTok here. He's a fiber hand. And I started following him when I first started doing TikTok, and hey, boy's got a CDL and going in to do an application now. It's been over a year, that he's been working on this, and he's finally there. As he stayed hooked up to it, I watched him take his lumps, through the whole thing. And here he is. He's finally getting there. So just staying true to it. Whatever you want out of it is what you need to stay focused on, and it'll pay off.
I actually love that. People don't focus enough on patience, right? You see that a lot online. You seen it probably tons in your comments too. Just like, oh, I've been trying to get a job, or I've been trying to get an apprenticeship. I've been trying. They keep saying that. And then you'll see somebody say, somebody will ask them a question, how long have you been trying? Oh, 3 months. or I tried twice. I went to these 2 places, and it's like, no, dude, like you said, stay hooked up to it and be patient. Be, willing to, if it's what you want, be willing to give it 5 years. Like, stay true to it, and really,
that's
be willing to travel, be willing to go outside of your jurisdiction to find that job, find that open door to get in. As soon as you find it, you're in,
Yep. That's it. I mean, one job. That's all you got to get in on.
Yeah.
From there, you'll meet people. You'll find somebody you meet hands on other jobs that are on storm. And then from then on, you're in business. But it's that one job, getting your foot in, and that reverts back to number 2. Make sure you want it. You get your foot in the door. Make sure you're there, but putting out 100% for it. Make sure that's what you want. It'll pay off. You'll finally get it one of these days. I don't know when or where, but so far, everything that I've learned, if you stay moral and true to yourself, the things that you work for will happen for you.
How important is work ethic?
Oh, that's very important. Taking pride in what you do, make sure you're up on time every day. I got a hand. This boy sleeps like a dead man. I would pay to get a night's sleep like he gets every day. Sometimes he oversleeps, and that it affects the whole day when he's late. You know what I mean? He got excellent work ethic, and he works hard, and he takes pride in what he does. But sometimes he oversleeps. That one little lapse, in that pride and what you do, causes the whole day to be, not just for him, for everybody. Everybody on the whole crew's feeling he'd be late. So, as soon as I start talking about somebody, they must know it because they're either texting or calling.
Speak of the devil, hey?
Yeah, just be proud of what you do and stay hooked up at it. Don't waste your time or anybody else's.
100%. Love that. Like, I was always taught, and you probably were too, like, if you're on time, you're late. That's that old saying. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, don't even bother showing up. There it is. And that means have your boots on. Have your boots on before work starts. Not like put your boots on at 7 or put your boots on at 6. It's like put them on a half an hour before, an hour before. Like, come prepared, basically.
Here's one of my biggest pet peeves, and this is right about that. I go on storm, and I'll see 1,000 hands get out of the truck wearing shorts, Crocs. Whoa, come to work in your pants. I know you driving. Drive in your pants, see your boots. You're on the clock. You know what I mean? That's just one of my biggest things right there is the attire. You know what I mean? If you're driving a bucket truck, you don't need to be in a pair of sleeping shorts or sleep pants with flip flops on. If something happens and you got to do something to the truck or whatever, you're there in flip flops and sleep pants. That's one of my biggest things. Be ready for work at all times. When you open your eyes in the morning, get up, get dressed, because something's going to happen that day. Yeah. I don't know why that's a pet peeve. I just cannot. I see that, and it's just like, oh, I love you.
You can take it a step further. I understand and respect that we work with creosote poles, and you're working with Penetrox, and you get greasy and dirty and shitty all day, every day, and it's hard to keep all that clean. But you don't have to look like a slop. We could do better. You don't have to look like a slop.
Yeah. You're right.
You could look more presentable.
I see that.
I think there's some improvement to be had there.
Yeah, I had a foreman. He was a stickler about tucking in the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even tuck my shirt in for my daddy's funeral. You know what I mean? So I'm just not a shirt tucker.
I'm not a shirt tucker.
And me and him butted heads. I'd be there minding my own business working. He'd pull up hard. Get that shirt in. Hey, get out of here. But, he was, when we did pictures or whatever for the company or was going to meet somebody, I'd tuck my shirt in to look presentable. But
I've had you for an hour anyway. That's all I was kind of planning today. I love talking to you anytime, buddy. And honestly, I would love to have you here next time. I think we need to make you get the trip down here.
Yeah, I'll try to be better. I'm not real good at on the spot interview like this. I'm more fun in person.
Oh
I'll say
yeah,
that.
hell
You know,
yeah.
I'm not
No,
more
you're great.
fun, but I'm more, outgoing,
What I can say
I'd rather
is
do it.
like, is your last episode, honestly, like you get a good response from people out there, and people really like what you're doing. They like
It's good.
the ones that know you online, the ones that see what you're doing. Like your episode got a great response, and people were stoked to see you on the podcast. So 100%.
That makes me proud.
Yeah.
That does make me proud.
Yeah. No, men don't always have to drone on and talk on for hours and hours and hours, right? Like you say a few things and those are important things, and people listen and go about their day and make some changes. And I think every time you're on, you got something important to say. So
I appreciate it, Bo. I do.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Congratulations again on the success of the podcast, Bo. I'm proud for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's awesome.
Tell
All right, buddy.
all them Quanah boys I said, hey.
I will. You come down and say hey yourself.
It's already in the works. I've got it planned.
All right, buddy. Take care. All the best to you.
Take care, Bo.
All right, bye. All right, guys. Once again, hope you got some value out of the episode. I know I did. I enjoy every single one of these conversations, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. One more time for the folks in the back, if you could like, subscribe, follow, make sure you're following either in audio form and video form on YouTube. Much appreciated. All right, guys. Play safe. Peace.